No! Wait! We can't stop here. This is Bat Country.
1998 was one of those years where Hollywood just snapped. Not in a bad way, more like a creative meltdown nobody saw coming. Studios were greenlighting movies that didn't fit anywhere. Directors were swinging for the fences, and the marketing team were behaving like they'd never seen a film before. Everything felt scrambled. And because of that, a bunch of genuinely great movies walked straight into theaters and fell flat on their faces. Not because they were bad, but because nobody knew what they were supposed to be. The trailers lied, the posters confused people, and audiences had no idea what they were buying a ticket for. But time fixes these things. So here are the misfires 1998 tried to bury, and the fans later brought back from the dead. Let's have a look. Number 12, The Big Lebowski.
Are you employed, Mr. Lebowski?
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
If there's one movie that proves 1998 was having a full-blown identity crisis, it's The Big Lebowski. When it landed, audiences genuinely didn't know what they were watching. Was it a bowling comedy, a stoner ramble, a detective parody, a weird Coen Brothers fever dream? Nobody had a clue. And because of that, theaters stayed half asleep. It opened in March against Titanic, which was still dominating everything months after release. Bad timing alone wiped out any hope of a big debut. But the movie didn't need opening weekend. It needed years, and years turned into something unstoppable. The dude became a cult icon. Walter became a meme machine before memes existed. The nonsensical plot somehow became part of the charm. Every line gained new fans, new interpretations, new t-shirts. It was a flop in '98. Today, it's practically a religion. The dude abides, eventually. Number 11, Dark City.
Hello? Hello?
There are movies that release too early, and then there's Dark City. In 1998, audiences weren't exactly ready for a noir sci-fi philosophical mind bend about strangers rearranging an entire metropolis every night. And the marketing didn't help. Some posters made it look like horror, others like a thriller, others like something you'd find in a forgotten arcade. It bombed. It didn't even cross $30 million worldwide, despite strong critical support. But once the dust settled, a very specific kind of fan found it, and then more fans, and then more. People realized how bold the concept was, how strange and beautiful the cinematography felt, and how many sci-fi movies borrowed from it years later. In 1998, Dark City looked like a glitch. Today it looks like a prophecy, which, fair enough. But strange didn't stop there. 1998 doubled down on the surreal. Moving on to number 10. Number 10, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Down with him was the central illusion of a whole lifestyle that he helped create. A generation of permanent cripples, failed seekers.
Terry Gilliam has always made movies that march to their own chaotic rhythm. But Fear and Loathing might be his most unhinged. When it premiered, audiences weren't sure what to do with 2 hours of drug-induced hallucinations held together with the loosest plot imaginable. Some people walked out. Some critics outright hated it. The film opened outside the top 10 and never recovered, eventually earning just $10 million domestic. It even premiered at Cannes to a mix of standing ovation and walkouts, which pretty much sums up the movie's entire legacy. But then something funny happened. While it fell flat theatrically, it exploded everywhere else. Midnight screenings turned into a ritual. College campuses treated it like sacred text. Depp's performance became iconic. Even the film's strangest sequences became references in their own right. Gilliam tried to make a cinematic bad trip. The box office rejected it, but the cult crowd embraced it so hard, it's now impossible to imagine 90s cinema without it. Number 9, Rushmore.
I like your nurse's uniform, guy.
These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they?
Today, people describe Wes Anderson films with entire vocabulary sets: symmetry, deadpan, pastel, quirky, meticulous. But in 1998, nobody had the language yet. Rushmore seemed like a teen comedy on the surface, but the tone was offbeat. The humor was dry. The world was strange, and audiences didn't know where to put it. It didn't make much money. Most people missed it entirely. But the people who did see it wouldn't shut up about it. They quoted Max Fisher. They analyzed the soundtrack. They recommended it like it was a secret handshake. Slowly, Generation by generation, the film grew into a cornerstone of indie cinema. It didn't hit in '98, but it became the blueprint for everything Anderson did afterward, and the cult fans were there from day one. If you're still here, you're clearly one of the real film people. The ones who don't just watch movies, you study them. So do me a quick favor. Hit like so this video gets pushed to more movie nerds. And subscribe so you don't miss the next cult classic breakdown. Alright, back to 1998's madness. Number 8, Pleasantville.
As we can imagine.
How about some marshmallow rice squares?
Those are swell.
But maybe it's a lot closer.
Here's a perfect example of a movie that struggled because the marketing department absolutely panicked. The trailers made Pleasantville look like a light-hearted comedy about two 90s teens trapped in a black and white sitcom world. Cute, fun, harmless. But the movie itself? A surprisingly heavy allegory about conformity, prejudice, repression, and waking up to your own identity. Audiences expecting a goofy adventure got a philosophical drama wrapped in some of the most beautiful cinematography of the decade. They weren't ready. It cost around $60 million to make, but didn't even crack $50 million in theaters, which was a harsh outcome for such an ambitious project. But years later, Pleasantville found its real audience. Teachers used it in classrooms. Cinephiles praised its metaphor. The film's emotional weight and visual craft kept drawing people back. It flopped when it landed, but it aged into something meaningful. Exactly the kind of movie the late 90s didn't know it needed. Pi is the kind of movie that feels like it escaped from someone's nightmare notebook.
When I was a little kid, my mother told me not to stare into the sun.
Shot on a microscopic budget with jittery black and white visuals, it's tense and just deeply unsettling. Unsurprisingly, that didn't make it a mainstream hit in 1998. Most people took one look and said, nope. The whole film was made for roughly $60,000, shot guerrilla style on the streets of New York, and every dollar of that budget shows in the best possible way. But the ones who didn't? They spread the word like wildfire. Film students embraced it. Indie fans argued about its themes at 2 a.m. Viewers loved how uncomfortable it made them. It wasn't clean, it wasn't polished, but it was unforgettable. This was Aronofsky before he became Aronofsky, and cult fans still point to Pi as one of the most daring debuts of the decade. After all that experimental chaos, 1998 swung to the opposite extreme, a thriller that somehow still slipped under the radar. Number 6, The Negotiator.
He's in. We gotta lay it out now.
Unit 1, hold position.
In a different year, or even a different month, The Negotiator could have been huge. It had everything. Samuel L. Jackson in top form, Kevin Spacey as his intellectual rival, and a gripping police thriller that never wasted a single scene. But 1998 was a battlefield of crowded summer releases. Bigger, louder movies swallowed it whole. The film didn't bomb because people disliked it. It bombed because people didn't notice it. It released just 1 week after Armageddon and 2 weeks after Lethal Weapon 4. Terrible placement. Years later, more and more viewers discovered it and realized it was one of the most tightly constructed thrillers of its time. And once people started recommending it, the cycle repeated. We're past halfway, and somehow the strangest stories from 1998 are still ahead. If you're enjoying this trip back to the year Hollywood lost its mind, hit like and keep watching, because the top 5 gets even wilder. Number 5, Wild Things.
He started rubbing my shoulders.
Wild Things was probably doomed the moment the marketing team turned it into scandal bait. The posters practically dared critics to hate it, and audiences assumed it was just trashy shock value. But under the neon chaos and outrageous plot twists was a surprisingly clever noir in disguise that knew exactly how over the top it was. Honestly, respect. The movie cost a surprisingly high $20 million, most of which went into its cast. And the studio panicked when early audience reactions skewed wildly between laughter and shock. It didn't take long for people to realize they'd misjudged it. Cable reruns gave it new life. Home video turned it into a sleepover favorite. The cult fans saw it for what it really was: intentionally pulpy, knowingly ridiculous, and honestly pretty stylish. 1998 wasn't ready for its energy. Later generations embraced it without hesitation. Number 4, The Prince of Egypt. This movie didn't fail at the box office. It actually did well, but it didn't reach the huge numbers DreamWorks expected. They hoped for a massive hit. Instead, audiences weren't sure what to make of it. A serious, hand-painted biblical story released in 1998 felt unusual. Kids thought it was too intense. Adults weren't used to animation telling such a heavy, emotional story. So even though it made $218 million worldwide, DreamWorks had hoped for Disney-level success, and it didn't get there. But over time, the movie found new life. The animation still looks incredible. The soundtrack became famous, and the story feels even more powerful today than it did back then. Now, The Prince of Egypt is seen as one of the most impressive animated films ever made. It grew in respect and popularity long after it left theaters. Its second life became bigger than its first.
You better wake up. The world you live in is just a sugar-coated topping. There is another world beneath it.
Before superhero movies became a habit, Blade appeared wearing sunglasses indoors and slicing vampires in nightclubs. Critics didn't understand it. Studios had no blueprint for it, and audiences weren't used to a comic book movie that didn't look or feel like a comic book movie. Its opening weekend was modest. It debuted at $17 million. Solid, but not enough to convince executives they had something massive on their hands. But Blade eventually proved to be foundational. Wesley Snipes turned the character into pure charisma. The tone was stylish and confident. The blood rave scene became iconic. And Marvel's later success owes a quiet debt to this very film. It didn't dominate 1998, but it shaped everything that came after. Number 2, The Thin Red Line.
And there ain't no world but this one.
I seen another world.
Terrence Malick returned to filmmaking after 20 years and somehow released his poetic war epic in the same year Saving Private Ryan redefined the entire genre. Anyone expecting gritty realism got meditations on humanity, nature, and existence instead. Viewers were split. Some loved it, and many quite confused. The box office wilted, even with a cast packed with big names. Sean Penn, George Clooney, John Travolta. It still finished far behind Saving Private Ryan, which dominated award season and conversation. But over time, The Thin Red Line earned the respect it always deserved. Its reflective style, haunting imagery, and emotional quiet made it stand apart. Film lovers eventually realized it wasn't trying to compete with Private Ryan. It was doing something completely different. Number 1, Fallen.
Edgar Reese. Who's you? It's the brilliant detective who sealed my brutish fate.
Now, Fallen had everything going for it. Denzel Washington, a spooky premise, a clever villain, and a chilling mystery. But the studio marketed it as a straightforward police thriller. So when audiences got a supernatural slow burn with a demon who travels through touch, they were thrown off, and the film tanked. It opened at just $10 million, debuting behind Spice World, and ended its entire run with only $25 million on a $46 million budget. For a Denzel movie in the late 90s, that was a shock. But time rescued it. Cable rewatches and the DVD release turned Fallen into something completely different. People suddenly appreciated how bold the premise was. The ending became the kind of twist fans whispered about. It transformed into a cult gem. The movie you recommend to anyone who loves dark thrillers and somehow missed this one. In 1998, Fallen fell hard. Today, it's one of the best "how did I miss this" movies of the decade. And that was 1998. The year Hollywood swung wildly, missed badly, and accidentally created a whole new generation of cult favorites. These movies didn't land because the timing was off, the marketing was confused, or the audience wasn't ready. But over the years, they found the viewers who understood them. Some were too weird, some were too ambitious, some were just mismarketed into oblivion. But they all survived, and in some cases, outlived the hits that overshadowed them. So which 1998 movie do you think deserved better? Drop it in the comments. And if you love deep dives into the misfires that aged like wine, you're in the right place. More Forgotten Chaos coming soon. See you in the next video.